Welcome to this video. In this video, I'll show exactly how we're currently sending 10,000 emails per month, super AI personalized, how we also have accumulated an opportunity status of $2.5 million and also reply rate of 3.5%. And right here, we do have the other stats. We've had a 3.4% reply rate, 2.5% were interested, 0.3% booked actually calls, and then we basically have 80% show up rate and 26% closing rate, which are currently 28 calls per month. And that's the setup we're currently running. And that gets our agency in every single time so much money. It's unbelievable. And as you can see right here, we currently do have our elite status with the 4 weeks. We have 258 opportunities. These elites we currently have contacted, but still follow up with. And we currently have them valued as $2.5 million in terms of how much they bring us in on a lifetime. So I have here an exact breakdown of how we work around it. I'll also talk about what you should watch out for. And basically, that's the whole video. So let's hop straight into it. So you basically want to start off with lead sourcing. Then later on, you want to get accounts. And then you want to have a tool where you basically start sending. Then you have a campaign setup. And then basically booking in calls to make sure you have the sales. Okay. So how this whole system works is you do want to get first off clear on what is your ideal customer, like who you're actually reaching out to. You know, some of you guys are in the e-com niche, some of you guys are, you know, in like a service niche, whatever. Just like figure out who's your ideal customer. And then what you basically want to do is you do want to get some softwares where you basically can get their data. Majority of the time we use Apollo.io. You can also go on Upwork, or you can also go like on Fiverr and find people who provide you with very good lead sources. Don't use lead sources that everyone is using. For example, Apollo, majority of the people are using them, and that's the reason why the source is already very saturated. If it's in a common niche such as ecom, if you get a lead list of Apollo.io from them, like what basically happens is everyone will send to the same list, and then like people getting 20 to 30 emails a day, you know, that's a saturated source. So maybe try to find some other SaaS companies or get them sourced manually in order to have better open rates and reply rates right there. Also, you need to verify the leads so that they have low bounce rate. That basically means if the email still exists, because if the email does not exist and you send an email to them, they bounce, and that basically triggers something in the algorithm, which can hurt your deliverability of your account. Then you basically want to also source some information right there that is personalized. You know, for example, we always in the beginning source the company name. So we say, hey, I saw your CEO at the company name, and basically I thought reaching out to you. So that works great. And that works also a lot. You basically want to also make sure, who do I talk to? If you have a company who has around like, let's say above 30 employees, you probably won't reach out to the founder. You probably reach out to the sales guy, to the CMO, whatever department you're reaching out to. So that's super important too. But if you're below, then it's okay if you just reach out to the founder, CEO, president, anything in that regard. Also, choose prospects who have cash. Guys, I can't stress this enough. Like majority of you guys are reaching out to people who do not have money. We want to have people on the calls who actually have cash so that they can afford our service or product. Then you basically want to get multiple domains and sub accounts. You have to understand, you cannot just use a normal email account and basically like just send from them. That doesn't work. There's so many systems in place that Google has in order to detect if you're spamming or not. And that's the reason why you need to buy a domain and then basically have different sub-accounts of Google Workspace. So you basically have one domain and then you have 3 sub-accounts per each domain. So if you want to scale that, you need to scale like this. You can't just have one domain and then like 20 accounts under this domain. No, that doesn't work. Like if you would do this, you will be automatically detected as spam because like you have a certain limit on the domain. So you basically have to every single time create a new domain and then create new accounts under this domain. As you can see here, this is the basic setup. You do want to set up the DNS records. The DNS records you want to set up is DKIM, DMARC, SPF, and you can also set up MX. It's basically records in the domain that allows Google to see if you're spam or not. If you do not verify the name in the DNS settings, then Google knows that you're basically spamming them and then your account gets shut down. You also want to make sure that you do have domains with a certain TLD. And that's, for example, is, you know, here the .com, there's also .uk, .io, whatever. You want to make sure that the TLD is also clean because like majority of them, if you use a very cheap DLT, for example, .money or like .shop or like something, you know, something stupid, then what basically happens is you get easy into spam and blacklisting because people already know, okay, that's a domain where a lot of basically spammers send from. Okay, then you also want to verify the domain that you're the owner of it so that you have further verification processes. And then also you want to set up them with different IPs because what happens, guys, and that's super interesting, is when, for example, this account gets banned, For example, Google then knows, oh, this account is connected with this account and with all the other accounts. And because we track it back to the IP of where set it up, then all of these can be shut down because it can be traced back to the ID. So you do want to make sure you have different IPs. You can do this with the rotating VPSs. That's what we do, and also with proxies, and that works pretty well. You also want to make sure that you purchase them probably from Namecheap or GoDaddy, or Squarespace domains or something like that. Like, just use a common one. And you also want to make sure you name them. For example, what we did, like our company is called InfluScale. And basically what we did is all in our accounts, you can see be InfluScale.site, company InfluScale, email InfluScale, get InfluScale, grow InfluScale. So we basically have multiple subdomains. It's not a subdomain, but it's just like a different name domain so that people, like still know, okay, it's our company. And we also redirect it. Like if you would search this, you would still find actually our main site because we redirect it. So this is basically how we do it. And this is how we can make multiple domain names, which basically still look good. Then you want to get Instantly.ai. Instantly.ai, that's the software I'm currently in here, is hands down the best software when it comes down to mass AI email outreach. Like, yes, there's not a good one which is called QuickMail. The other one is called, I'm not sure how it's called. I don't currently have it in my mind, but there's another one which is pretty good. And those are basically the other competitors. However, Instantly.ai is hands down the best one. They've tested so many times. We've also tried like different tools such as Nuff.io, or like different other SaaS that currently pop up who offer very good pricing plans, but they can never ever get close to the standards that Instantly.ai has. So what you basically want to do is, once you created all of these, and you can get this all done by VA, then you can basically go into the account and you add a new account. You basically add the new account. As you can see here, we have 3 accounts. We basically also have women names in here because they tend to have better open rates, better response rates, better meeting booked rates. And what we then basically do is we connect all the accounts and we put them up in warm up for 3 weeks. What we basically do, our warm up settings are the following. We go here into settings. I have here the names, and then I basically have 20 in a campaign limit. 3, you can honestly do even 10. It's even safer. 10 in minimum wait time will use multiple campaigns. Here, just have a random warm-up tag, which you don't have to really do. It's just, in the case you're literally going manually into the accounts, and then you can basically block the warm-up emails. And what a warm-up email basically is, we cannot just start sending from this account, because then Google knows, oh, if we start to send 20, 30 emails per day per account out of nowhere, then Google knows, okay, we're obviously spammers. What warm-up basically is, it mirrors a normal conversation in the email threads. There's basically a normal person talking like business and like asking them and like open rates, response rates, and just mirrors a human behavior so that Google knows, okay, it's a normal person. They warm up the account. After 3 weeks, you basically can start sending. And so we basically down here have, okay, I have here disable slow warm up, but basically normally we have increased 3 per day. Here 30 basically in warm up, so that we have a total of 50 per day. So here 20. Here 30, reply rate around like 30 to 40%. Here down below, I do not have weekdays only. I basically have this off. I have read emulation, spend time in scrolling through warm-up emails to emulate human-like behavior reading. That's all through AI. Then basically down below, we have an 84%. You can do around like 80%. Open rate, spam protection 100%, and mark as important 35. And that's basically how we put all these accounts into warm-up, and they send all the time. And we currently have around like 99 to 100% in terms of email health score. And we can see exactly here how many times we land in spam, and it's very low, and it's really making sense. And it's a great system. It's a really great system. Then what we basically do in that 3 weeks, we form a domain sending reputation. So like Google gives us a reputation, in the 3 weeks. It's kind of like if you go into a job, the first 3 weeks, you have to prove yourself so that people see if you're the real deal or not, like if you're legit or not. The same thing is here. In the first 3 weeks, we need to prove ourselves that we're normal persons sending normal emails, which is healthy and all is fine. After that, we can start like going to these different behaviors of like sending mass emails, same emails, and so on. And that essentially allows us to then scale. So then when it comes down here, we want to set up the accounts to be sending. So like we want to connect them to the campaign and so on, but we go to that in a second. So we basically want to go in here and then create a new campaign. We can just go in here. We can name it as we want to. Here, we can just like basically upload the leads. We want to do upload it in a CSV file. And then we have basically sequences, so like, for example, after 1 day, we send another follow-up email. So we can also send different follow-up emails. That works too. Then here we also have a schedule. We normally run on the Eastern time schedule. We send from Monday till Friday. If you work with influencers, you can also include Saturday because it doesn't matter for them too much, or Sunday. But like if you're a B2B just choose like from Monday till Friday. Then basically here in the options, you choose all of the accounts you want to choose here. You basically want to get them in here. Then I have stop sending emails on reply. If a person responds, it automatically puts them out of the sequence. We do not do open tracking, because if you do open rate tracking, what basically happens, you have a code in your email, and Google detects that code and gives you kind of like a little bit of a mark where it says, hey, okay, that person could be spam, and that's the reason why you have a worse sender reputation. That's the reason why you have low open rates, because like you have that code in your first email, and you cannot include any links or any codes in the first email, because like this is how Google basically tracks if you're spamming or not. Here, for example, you can send the email as text only, no HTML, because like everything that is added to the email can really adversely affect your deliverability. Then daily campaign limit depends on how many accounts you have. You basically want to always do the math, 20 per account in sending campaign and volume. And then basically down here you can have different time gaps. You can include the unsubscribe in the link header and so on, which is not too important, but that's basically it. You basically want to connect all the accounts here, set up the sequences, and send. You do want to make sure that you have the right sending times, dependent on where you're sending to. If I'm sending to a European client and I send these emails in East time zone schedule, that will probably not make sense. So do make sure that you basically set them in the right time zone. Then what you also want to do is spin text to whole text. So it's basically a variation where it's, for example, like this. If I say hello, then I also want to have a variation of hi, a variation of hey, and a variation of good day, for example. And what it basically does, if you put this into curly bracelets, then what basically happens is, into curly brackets, what then basically happens is it switches in between those. So like that is basically every single email is not hello, 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 whatever. It's like, hey, hi, good day. So that Google does not see the pattern that every single time you send the same email. Because like if you do send every single time the same email, what basically happens is Google knows that you're just like spamming people and like do mass outreach. Then you want to make sure you have the right campaign limit. As I said it before, if you have 10 accounts and you basically have 20 per accounts, then you know exactly that you have a campaign limit of 200. So like you always want to do the math. You also want to have follow-up sequences. We have follow-up sequence anywhere between like around like 2 to 3. We don't see too much anything above like that really be working. You do have to make sure that, if I send 20 emails per day, that we also have to include the follow-ups. So we do want to make sure we do not have the right things right there. So we do also want to have the right CTA. Every single time when we do have a script, we do want to make sure we have the right CTA. Don't ever put a booking call into the CTA. What we've been seeing working a lot is a question such as, would that be an interest for you? Are you open to hearing more? Would you like to see a short video breakdown? And so on. And that basically gets people engaged, and then they start a conversation. Then you can send a booking link and get them on a call. You also want to include a case study. You want to show that it worked for a brand or a name in your market and what specific results you actually got them, and that people can see, oh, it works. Then you want to keep it short. You want to have it around like 80 words or so, or I think like 80 characters. I'm not sure. One of these, a little bit lightheaded still from a boxing session, but you do want to keep it very, very short. You don't want to keep it very short, and you also want to make it personal, because if you just like send a mass email, you know exactly that it is the same as everyone else get, then you not want to have, you are not open to it, because this guy's just like spamming people. So you do want to have a personal mark in the beginning, like you do want to know what company he's a part of. What we always say, hey, I just saw that your position at company name. I saw that you're the founder of company name, and I thought you would be the right person to reach out to. Not a lot of people who are not too familiar with these AI stuff things, they don't know that you can personalize that. So that's the reason why it works. Also, make sure that you do have a block list. You can also set up an instantly.ai. You can also set up a block list in the backend. And that basically allows you to not send to people to automatically block the domains of clients, because you do obviously not want to spam clients. Also want to split test. Every single time you can add here variation, can split like different variations. For example, here in one of our most successful campaigns, and by the way, here, there are many, many, many positive replies. Like many, as you can see here. So it's really been working well for us. And here in our most successful campaigns, we actually have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 variations, and we split test them. We can see, okay, 3% reply rate. Okay, how many opportunities, which is a positive lead, did we get out of it? And all of that. And that basically allows us to see what's working and what's not working. And here we also have the stats for the follow-up sequence. And that's basically it. So after that, you want to make sure that you book them on a call and that you get sales done. So you do want to make sure you have the right follow-ups. If a person is like responding to you, you do want to make sure that you not forget to follow up with them. Because for example, if I go here into my CRM list, where's my CRM list? If I go here into my CRM list, we have tons of opportunities. Like look at that. We have 159 people being interested. They still need to be worked on. You know, like they have maybe a short positive reply. They're very interested, and then you basically still need to be followed up with. You know, if their messages, hey, when are you able to get on the phone, and so on, and that needs to be actually be in place. What we also do, if people stop to messaging us, they go into follow-up flow. As you can see here, for example, here's call follow-up flow. When I go here into my campaign, what basically happens is that in a subsequence, I can move the lead and put them here into basic follow-up flow. What then basically happens if the person doesn't respond, then it says, hey Ethan, just wanted to bump this up. Didn't hear back from you. Did you get my last email? Then I send a fucking funny Mr. Bean. Then I'm saying, pause on communication for now. Let me know when you want to get it back engaged with business. Then basically we check in after 40 days again, like if they want to get involved. And that's what we do with all the leads. Majority of people lose a lot of leads at that stage. They get a positive reply. They don't respond back, after you send them the video link or the website or whatever. And then this is where people lose the leads. So you do want to make sure you do have sub-sequences in place, and you need to follow up with them as much as you can, really. Like that's really a very, very big rule when it comes down to cold emailing. So you also need to know how to respond. You don't want to be too aggressive. You do want to make sure to book them on a call, but if like people say, oh, what is your price? You never want to mention it. Like you want to talk around. You want to say, hey, well, for every single client, specific needs, and this is how we also have a specific pricing for them, but we can hop on a call and see, what it would be for you. Never ever send over the pricing, because they do not have all the assets in place and all the information for them to make a decision if you're the right partner or not to work together with. So you need to book them in on the calls. You also need to make sure that you book in the calls with this niche specific opportunity that you have. For example, if you're working together with e-com or whatever, or like any online marketing thing or like SaaS companies, if you send over a calendar link, that's probably going to work. But if you work together with construction companies, they do not know what a calendar link is. Like with them, you really want to make sure that you actually have something that is normal for them, which is a normal phone number. I have a friend, like he noticed that when he sent calendar link, no one actually booked the call. Then when he started to exchange numbers with them, he sent clients left and right. You also need to understand how to close. You do need to have the right sales framework, but I don't go into that. And also stay in their mind. For example, if we actually had the lead on the call, but we didn't close them, we do want to keep on following up with them, checking in with them, because maybe it was not the right time, not the right fit or whatever. And honestly, if you have 10 to 15 calls a month, and you have 1 to 3 closes with a 20% closing rate, what then basically happens, and you charge anywhere between like 2 to 8K per month, you can make the money so fast back. Like we're currently paying it instantly like $97 a month, and that's nothing. Yes, these are a little bit pricey, but honestly, you should run anywhere between like $200 to $300 per month with an email setup. And if you have 1 or 2 closes in that range per month, like that's very, very, honestly, very, very fair and very, very nice if you can have that. And yeah, that's basically the whole system that we do run. Again, I want to show here again, we do have 3.5% reply rates, 258 opportunities, so the positive replies, and we get per day around like 10 to 20 positive replies. And we have a whole system where we work through them, we split test, and every single time. And yeah, guys, that's how it basically works. Let me know if you have any question, and I'll talk to you very, very soon.